two teams that have lit it up the times they have played. They've played twice. There have been 12 total goals in those matches. Tell me which way you're going here.
I mean, listen, City money line was something I was like looking at. I typed it in the doc, and then I was like, you know what? I don't know, man. There's
I'm
just
good.
there's just a morale vibe around them right now, and it's not a quality thing. I think when you give away your best fullback to one of the other Champions League favorites in Bayern, it's a very bizarre situation. We see the locker room issues. We see Pep's comments publicly. Even Haaland is missing some weird chances in front of goal, despite him being a machine. I still think City are going to get theirs at the end of the day. Shocker, both teams to score again, because there are going to be those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's just with City at this point, it's kind of like, do you trust them? And there's this lack of trust I have with this squad right now, especially in this competition, that's severely lacking. Again, it's totals and both teams to score is the only direction I would lean in. I know that's where you're going as well.
Yeah.
Just a money line purpose with this. There's something about City right now that's kind of rocky. And again, we know if City miss out on the Premier League title, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose in the Champions League, all hell is going to break loose again. Because what we talked about in the opening shows for this, by far the biggest favorite in this competition is Manchester City. The only team outside of PSG really that's expected to win this that has not won it is Manchester City. And everyone is on their high horse saying, well, look at City now. They're even worse than they used to be. Erling Haaland's making them worse. But then why are they favored? Then why are people taking them? Like, it doesn't make sense. Maybe it has something to do with the VIG. I don't know. But what I'll tell you is I don't rely on anything else but the goal scoring in this. I'm not going to pick a winner. And again, I know it'll sound stupid, like, oh, this guy, of course he's saying this, but and then going back to say, of course I see City winning. But just because I see multiple things happening doesn't mean I'm going to put my money on it. So yeah, I think that the safest is where I think we're both leaning is just both teams to score and some totals here. Over 3.5, I think also as well. That's if you're getting, I'll let you mention the over 2.5, but in that case, if it's at that low of a number, which is a pretty good one, why not take over 3.5 at that point? Because you mentioned the two matches where we see 12 goals.
Yeah, and for those people saying, you see it and you're not betting it, I see myself in a Ferrari. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I agree with you 100%. Like both teams to score over 2.5, only directions I'm going in here. Leipzig actually second in the Bundesliga behind Bayern, which of course only won 1-0 last week, but we don't have to talk about that.
Weird.
In games that hit over 2.5 with 14. These are two teams that are still capable of scoring. Again, there's just too much around City right now for me to just trust them on the money line. If this is a plus number, I'm taking this blind. Like if it's looking at me at plus 105, plus 120, whatever it would be, I'm taking City on that money line because I do think they will win. But do I trust them enough to take them when the money line is minus 125? Not a chance. Like there has just been way too much volatility around. De Bruyne did not practice. Laporte did not practice. So their status still up in the air. Probably not going to start. Might not even see them in general. I just give me the goals. 3.5 is a little risky, but like if you come at me in 2 days and say and show me a City 3-1 scoreline after tying to Nottingham Forest, like it's just the kind of season it has been. Like I see it happening. Like you said though, I don't trust it enough to put money on it.
And then it's also Leipzig's approach to this. Are Leipzig going in saying, okay, as you mentioned, De Bruyne not practicing, are we going to go full throttle at home to put ourselves in the best position possible to advance? Because shift to the pressure being in the return leg for Manchester City. City doesn't want pressure in this competition. It's the one thing that they can't even go into the Bernabeu last season when they're up a couple of goals, feeling great after a Mahrez finish, that they're feeling well. Any single time there is a piece of adversity for this team in this competition, they crumble. They do. Yeah. And if you're Leipzig and you have this German ideology of stepping on someone's throat in football, they're going to do that. And I just think that kind of approach is going to be there. it's solely going to have to be on Erling Haaland at this point. Because if the creation isn't going to be there from 100% Kevin De Bruyne, whether he's there or not, right? We're probably not going to see him 100%. He's their best player outside of Haaland. Like, it's kind of like, what are we expecting here? Julian Alvarez is going to do something off of the bench? Maybe. For me, it's just, there's too many question marks for a team that's supposed to be so heavily favored. That shouldn't be a thing. And that's where you fall into this trap. And a lot of it's in American markets. We still see it, like, again, over the weekend. I'm sorry to bring up my team again. Zlatan Ibrahimovic hasn't played since the final match day in Serie A last season. He was the top goal-scoring odd over the weekend. And it doesn't make sense, okay? What we're seeing a lot of the time popping up in this stuff, regardless if the Champions League has more play because it's the biggest competition, you can't always trust what you see, all right? So you're going to have to go by your gut here in recent history. And recent history tells us goals and don't trust City. And that's what we're going to go with.
Yeah, I'm good with give me 3 goals. Again, 12 goals in 2 matches between these two teams. That's all I need to see. Both of them have hit that over 2.5